So I'm Diego. I live in Holyoke, Massachusetts, and I am here to talk to you about Co-op Power. I'm on the board of Co-op Power. I see a few of the members here. Raise your hand if you're a member of Co-op Power. Yes. That's awesome. I feel supported. Back when one of the presidents decided to electrify the United States, the coast, California and the East Coast, had already had corporations coming in building electrical infrastructure, whereas the center of the country didn't have that infrastructure yet. And so actually, in the development of electrifying the country, there's a lot of electric cooperatives that popped up in rural USA. And that's been really helpful for residents to have, to make sure that their energy bills are a good price, that they're not paying more and more every single year. You see something similar with municipally controlled energy. And so the conversation was really about, can we just put together like a think tank of people to just examine this, take a look at this and see, can we develop like an energy cooperative or start to create energy cooperatives in this Northeast, New England area. And so it started off just as like a think tank. And so what they were trying to do with this new kind of cooperative is, let's tap into the sustainable energy and really take it a step further. Because that's really, it's not just about the energy, but it's also about, let's see where we get the energy from. Let's think about the environment in all of this. So in around the year 2000, there was a few priorities that resulted from this think tank. And one of them is they realized it had to be a multi-class, a multi-race priority. It had to be diverse. It couldn't just be the folks who can afford to join this cooperative. So that already presents itself with a bunch of challenges. It's like when you pull together a group of people to have equity in a business, you have to have the cash to be able to put the equity down. So that has definitely been an ongoing theme that we've been tackling to really stay true to that priority and have to move this cooperative forward. In the year 2004, it was incorporated with a business plan for Co-op Power and Northeast Biodiesel. And so here, one of the things that also emerges as a priority is that it needs to be a decentralized network. So it's kind of two different things, two different priorities, right? It's like decentralized, but it's got to be connected. And so the way that we've kind of developed this model is that we have these things called LOCs. I was introduced as being part of the Hampden County LOC. LOC stands for Local Organizing Council. The idea is that there's different pockets of people that are coming together and want to be, developing their own businesses, putting in their own equity, and different communities face different challenges. There are currently 6 LOCs. So it's not even contained in one state. It's just kind of like the 91 corridor, that the road there's a river that goes between Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and then Metro Boston. So that's been a lot of interesting conversations when you bring folks from all these different regions together, because I can tell you the folks who live in southern Vermont are not facing the same issues that are happening in Boston or Worcester or like Holyoke. Like, we have very interesting conversations. And so we're still working on implementing this model little by little. Probably the region that has the most amount of members right now is Hampshire County, and I'm really working to build up Hampden County. From my point of view, all I've been hearing about the economy is that the economy is collapsing. Wall Street is getting paid like all the time, and we have to wait for jobs to happen, and I get really frustrated when I hear like perpetual like enterprises that are popping up, and venture capitalists are coming in, and they get paid, and then these little projects go under. And I see it happening over and over and over and over again. And I really think this is a really key model to think of long-term business development, but at the same time really stay true to a core mission and allow people to be creative and to come together and to work more one-on-one, but stay connected on the larger model. So what's the kind of overall vision? You can see here it's kind of a map. So you've got the Co-op Power Council that oversees investments, loans, business development, that creates green businesses and good green jobs, that provides energy products, services, interest, and dividends. And then on the other side, you have the Co-op Power member who provides equity, loans, and payments for products and services back into the Co-op Power Council, is able to get products, services, green jobs, education, and community control. So it's kind of like this two loops that are feeding each other. And as Co-op Power gets stronger, as it gets bigger, as it becomes more profitable, a lot of these funds are going to be able to circulate back into the work that we're doing. So Co-op Power's created 150 good green jobs. It has $300,000 in member equity and raised over $1 million in member loans. So these are really big numbers. Yeah, so I think what's really cool about this is this, like, for everyone on like Wall Street who's like, all this community-based models are never going to work. It's working. So I don't know what they're talking about, and just because today they're getting paid, tomorrow we'll get paid. It's fine. So just to name some of the businesses that have been created, Northeast Biodiesel is looking to be able to process 1.75 million gallons a year of biodiesel in Greenfield. That's a huge amount of biodiesel. Co-op Power has developed a lot of energy efficiency businesses. So Boston has an energy efficiency crew. Western Mass has an energy efficiency crew. And then there's also Angarita, which I'm going to talk about in a second. There's also a program called Neighbor to Neighbor, where Co-op Power members are learning how to do installation of solar hot water systems on people's houses. And so you're able to cut down the cost of labor because you're turning your installation into an educational workshop. And it's kind of like it seems like similar to the time bank, where you put in and you get out, and people are working together, and it's really about creating those connections between people. It's not just about the money, even though that's really great. There's also the home heating fuel buying group that happens in the wintertime. And we also have regular get-togethers. And I did a training this past February, but the way I actually got involved into Co-op Power was I got an email, because I happened to be on their email list, and they said leadership training. And I was like, all right, let me see what these guys have to offer in terms of leadership. And I showed up, and they had this really awesome guy who was a union organizer coming in, and I had this crazy mix of people just in the same room. It was like people I never thought would come and hang out together. I mean, it was a mix of like hippies and like folks from Boston and Holyoke and Vermont. It was like, it's a really interesting setting, It was something I really it took me a while to process that this was actually happening organically. And I was the model just caught me, because it's really working. It's really about getting to the nitty-gritty issues and having those kind of conversations that are not easy. So Co-op Power does energy efficiency, but mostly residential. And their vision was to connect with community-based organizations that were working on environmental justice in urban communities, and to develop a commercial-based energy efficiency company that would be able to create green jobs, generate funds back into the environmental justice work, so that a lot of the organizing that's funded by foundations can actually have a little bit more longer impact than what short-term grants can actually have. So Energía is a collaboration between Co-op Power, Nuestras Raíces, and Nueva Esperanza. And it was launched in 2010 and has last year done $1.2 million in revenue and is projected to do over $1.3 million this year. And I have to say, like, it's amazing. It's an amazing model, and there's a ton of other models like this out there in the country. And thank you so much for your time, for listening. You've made this really easy. And yeah.